Hey, how's it going? I am here for another episode of A Sexy Confident Life. I am now recording a lot of my podcasts live because I want to talk directly to you, my audience. And if you're listening on iTunes or from my website, welcome. We are kicking it back into the 10 different principles I've been talking about designing the lifestyle that you love, designing a lifestyle that really gets you up in the morning, gets you feeling energized, gets you feeling progressive in your life. Because I know a lot of times we can go through stages of our life where we feel really, really good. And in stages of our life where we're just like, what is going on with me? Why can't I build momentum or progress or just get out of this funk or slump or whatever it might be? So I am jumping into one of my favorite principles today. I know I say that about every single principle, but truly, I love this principle that consistency is queen. This is such a simple kind of concept, principle, if you will, but it's not always common practice. And so today I'm going to jump into this principle of living our life under the influence of consistency being our queen. Whatever we do in our lives, if we can be more consistent in the practice of it, the belief of it, the influence of it, we're going to be better at it. We're going to be more fluid with it. So I know that this topic is unsexy, but it's so powerful. And I teach this in the Sexy Confident Woman formula, and everybody freaks out over this topic. And they realize that in their life, if only this changed when it comes to pursuing what they want, pursuing the goals that they want, everything would change. Everything. It doesn't matter what you do. If consistency becomes queen in your life, everything changes. Now, if you think about it, think about when the hardest moment in change is. The hardest time during change is when we start. Right? That's it. When we start, it's the hardest time, whether it's a fitness program, whether it's starting a blog, writing a book, being a parent, getting a new job, starting a new business, learning new tech. I had to write a list because there are so many things that we have to learn or change or grow into in our lives. And the hardest time to make those changes or adapt to those things is in the beginning. Why? Because we have no momentum. It's like trying to push a car. You're like, oh, this car is heavy. Oh, this is not easy. You're putting all your leg strength into it. You are grunting and grinding and trying to push that car. Once it starts moving, okay, the wheels are turning. It gets lighter. Soon you're running and you're sprinting and the car feels as light as a feather. Why? Momentum. You didn't stop pushing the car. You kept consistently pushing the car. The hardest time to do anything is right at the very beginning, right? But if we can be consistent and stay consistent, we build momentum. And so a lot of times when we lose momentum, it's because we lost consistency. And the reason a lot of us talk about motivation, oh, Anna, I can't get motivated. I'm like, because you've lost momentum, right? And I know this is really hard. You know, I write down notes about this stuff all the time in my journal. And I say, well, why did you lose consistency? Because if you are consistent, you'd keep momentum. If you kept momentum, you'd keep motivation. If you keep motivation, you keep getting results. And things get easier and easier, and life becomes much more convenient. Not such a struggle all the time. But we lose consistency for a few reasons, right? And whether it's distraction or it's doubt or fear, or it's just simply our beliefs and values get buried somewhere. So if we're not consistent with our business practices, if you're starting to build a business and it's like, it is like pushing a car up a hill, right? It doesn't even start to feel that easy, but it does get easier the more consistent you're practicing those things. But if your values and your beliefs about starting that business aren't so ingrained in your heart and soul and mind, it's going to be very hard to stay consistent with those practices of learning new skills, developing new products, creating new social content, doing more marketing, writing more blog content, blah, 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 right? What about fitness and exercise? I mean, if one of your goals is to lose weight, get healthy, change your body, and feel more energized and alive in your life, and you're just like, I can't stay consistent, Anna. Consistency isn't queen in my life when it comes to fitness and health. And I want to ask you, what are your values and your beliefs about what you're doing for your body? If it doesn't go deep into your heart and soul, you value the ability to thrive, you value the need to stay healthy and disease-free and to boost immunity and to feel like you can go climb a mountain. If you don't believe that health is a priority, that it's the leading factor in your life that creates the ripple effect for all other successes, what keeps you consistent? Because it's certainly not going to be the desire to get the workout in. It's certainly not going to be the desire to make the healthy meal over going to the fast food chain to get something convenient, salty, and sugary. It's got to go down to the core values and beliefs that you have for what you're doing. So it doesn't matter if you're writing a book, if you're doing a podcast, if you're starting a new job, if you're learning a new piece of tech. You've got to believe this is important to you. You've got to believe that this is going to add value. You've got to believe that this is the next step for you in your life towards success. Consistency is hard. But when you can make consistency the queen of your life, change is inevitable because momentum is inevitable. Motivation is inevitable, and change happens for you. So when you're thinking about this, you have to ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve in my life right now? What is it that you're going for? What is it? Are you moving forward? Is it a battle? Is it up, down, start, stop, progress, regression? What does the line look like? Because I'll tell you right now, the line to success or change is always going to be a zigzag. You're never just going to have this beautiful straight line towards success, with any goal that you're trying to achieve, but it better have an upward slope, which means progression, right? Not backwards. So a line can go like this, but it's going up. If it's going up and back and up and back and up and back, you're never going to reach the top. And that's frustrating. You might have setbacks. You might have things that happen, but you've got to think about, how am I practicing the pursuit of the habits, practices, and consistent, whatever tools that I need to make that goal a reality? What are you trying to achieve in your life? Are you consistent with the behaviors and the practices that are going to help you get there? If not, why? Why? If you can answer that question, my friend, you have your own solution to how to get there. You've got to change your thinking. You've got to make sure that you ingrain the values and beliefs you have for why you want that goal into your heart, your soul, and your mind. And you've got to say, this is important. I'm not going to be inconsistent because this is important to me. Momentum goes, motivation goes, and you go forward. That's the way it works. And it's not much more complicated than that. And if anyone tells you otherwise, tell them, you know what? First, I'm going to practice consistency. Before anyone tells you that the quick fix is better, or the extreme diets are better, or going for that business by slapping something on the throwing something on the walls is better, you have to think about the practices that the most successful people doing what you want to do are practicing, and practice that consistently. I tell my clients all the time, I say, if you just decide that you're going to be consistent with your exercise, I'm not saying you got to do crazy extreme workouts. I'm not saying you got to go nuts, balls to the walls kind of nuts. I'm talking about consistent. I don't care if you walk tomorrow, or you do yoga the next day, or you do a HIIT training the day after, or then you go back to stretching and foam rolling that following day. You do something every day to move your body, increase oxygen and blood flow, make those endorphins shoot through your veins. I guarantee in 6 to 8 weeks, you will have so much momentum. You will feel so motivated to the goal that you have in mind. Nothing can stop you. The reason the quick fixes don't work, the reason that, the extremes in life don't work, it's because you can't consistently practice them over the long term. You might hit some peak performance, you might hit some peak results, but it's not going to last. And to be honest with you, this is only my perspective, but it's my lifestyle where I truly desire, and you can disagree or you might agree, you want your lifestyle to be a long-term play of health and happiness and satisfaction and fulfillment, and not these ups and downs and turnarounds and start and stops and get going, go and no. If you want long-term success and sustainability, you want high performance that's elevated and sustained over the long term, you've got to do the work, and it's got to be consistent. So those are just a few nuggets of why consistency is queen. And so today I hope you take action. I hope you'll sit back and say, wow, what is my goal? What am I trying to achieve? What are the practices I need to do consistently to make that happen? And how long have I been consistent? Yeah? How long have you been consistent? Because that matters. That creates a huge chain of events. And I'm not saying like if you miss a day, you've broken the chain of consistency. All I'm saying is when you're pushing a heavy car and you slow down, it's a little harder to get back that speed. But you haven't come to a full stop. It's when you stop for weeks, right? And you give up for weeks. That's when all your momentum stops. And you got to start over again. And it's hard to start over. And that's why some people just don't even start over. They just quit altogether. Forget it. It's too hard. Exercise is too hard. Eating healthy is too difficult. I don't have time for this. There's every excuse in the book. You've heard it from all your friends. You might have even said them before to yourself. And it's okay. I'm not here to blame. I'm here to excite you about how simple it can be to change your own life. It can be so simple as to making consistency the queen of your life. Will you do it? I hope so, you guys. And I hope you'll touch base with me next week for episode number 31. Right here, we've gone over that principle number 4, consistency is queen. And next week, I've just got more juicy stuff for you. Principle number 5, you're going to love it. And I hope to see you then. Bye, guys.